Party and practice.
125, look, PPL is here. My favorite time of year. Blood, sweat, and tears dripping all over the gear. Yeah, NFL is back, so is PPL. Let the game get started. Time to see who will prevail. Yeah, the wait is over. Yeah, it's time for fantasy. It's time to draft and build a team that's capable to win the ring. As the GAFF attack back to back and try to get him free. He's chilling on the throne where everybody wants to be. Yeah, we all want the money. Everybody pay the fee. For me, I'm trying to win it just to brag about my team. Everybody wants to ring, but it ain't easy to achieve it. But believe it when I say it, feels so good when you receive it. Yeah, BBL is back, BBL the league is whack. You can say I'm talking smack, now I'm only speaking fact. Every week we got the live show, each year we got a nice flow. The others they can see us like they're playing with their eyes closed. PPL we ride, PPL we live, PPL we high, we the best you can't deny. Welcome to the live show, life be like the sideshow. You know and I know that PPL's a war zone, 100-yard battlefield, helmets as a battle shield. PPL we're back for real, time to draft and make a deal. Alpha versus Omega, battle with the fantasy, a game of intelligence, sacrifice and strategy.
We are 10 weeks into the season. We are deep in. We are about to crown our 17th Alpha and Omega Conference champions, PPL Live. We are here ready to go. Before we get into week 10, let's take one more eye back to our week 9 scores. Starting with the Argonauts getting a big win to stay alive in the Alpha Conference, 118 to only for the Bosses, 81. KILLA get it done with a big interconference win. 125 to the United Players, 107. Appease the God, roar back to life behind Caleb Williams, 40 points. 143 to the Skulls, 103. Squad underestimated, do it again, leave no doubt. Brock Bowers and Christian McCaffrey lead the charge, 155 to 122. And the GAFF attack get back on track with a much-needed Omega Conference victory, 102 to Patty's Twins, 82. Hey, man, it was a very, very up-and-down week in the PPL. Some teams made statements, some teams stayed alive. What did you think of the action?
I mean, we saw a lot of matchups that had implications that will play out into the playoffs, and we're really starting to see that seeding and what that can look like, at least in Alpha. Omega is anybody's ball game.
Oh, definitely, man, definitely. Let's get into it, man. Let's not waste no more time. Let's get into the good, the bad, and the ugly. Good, bad, and ugly for our Week 9 matchups. Let's hear it, Ulysses. What's your good, bad, and ugly for the Week 9 games?
I'm going to go ATG for my good this week.
Okay.
In a prestige matchup, really showed out. Especially after that trade, was Caleb going to be able to live up the hype? Really did. Finally double dipped with DJ Moore in the way that he needed. And Rico Dowdle had an immediate impact.
Right.
Other guys in the trade definitely showed up. And again, this was a matchup as both of these teams are jockeying for position in Omega. ATG couldn't have come together at the right time. Highest scoring performance of the season. Definitely my good of the week.
Oh, definitely, man. ATG had a great week when they needed it going back into conference play. What's your bad?
Bad this week's going to be the UP, man. The Indianapolis Colts struggled and therefore did the UP. When I look at this, though, I mean, them not even trying to do a coach, them not getting T. Higgins into the lineup against a very porous Bears defense. This game was entirely winnable. And again, in a very tight Omega conference, losses like this are going to matter. And I think it's just one that he's going to be thinking about. It was a bad week for the UP. They could have won this matchup.
Oh, definitely, man, definitely. I mean, even late in the matchup, they could have maybe gone Seahawks coach or something. And got that win. A bad week for the UP. They dropped the ball on that one, man. And if that's your bad, I got to hear your ugly.
ugly this week. I mean, they ain't gonna like to hear this, but it's Patty's Twins. I mean, they tell you themselves that it was an ugly performance. They never want to lose this week against the GAFF. But I mean, the sad fact of the matter is I mean, the GAFF didn't really do much last week,
right?
And that's what's going to bother the Twins. You know, outside of Justin Herbert and Amon-Ra St. Brown, I mean, D did good, but the Lions coach really put a damper on this one. Jonathan Taylor and Javonte Williams came back to earth. I mean, she went double tight. It didn't pop. It was just an ugly week all around for Patty's Twins. I mean, they were sitting in the driver's seat in Omega with this loss. They're going to have to just work a little bit harder to get it back. But it just, again, ugly week for the Twins. I expect them to bounce back.
No, definitely, man. The Twins had a chance to really put themselves out in front of the Omega Conference and really kind of put the GAFF in the back seat. They missed that opportunity, and it was an ugly miss. So definitely, man, I agree with you there. My good is I'm gonna agree with you on my good. My good are the trade partners of Appease the Gods and the Argonauts. Both teams were able to get wins after pulling off the trades. And it just shows sometimes something may not work on one roster, but may work on the other. Both teams were able to find ways to get victories in crucial conference games. The Argonauts in a big win against Only for the Boss, beating the team tied for the best record in the league. And obviously, Appease the Gods getting a big win against the Skulls in the Prestige matchup in the week, and a matchup of, I felt like, a matchup of two seasons. I mean, whoever I felt like won that matchup, their season was going to go one way, and whoever lost, their season potentially could go the other way. So that was my good. My bad is and I don't mean the Omega Conference as a whole, but I would guess say the top of Omega. There will be no gap out in the Omega Conference. It's anybody's race. I mean, one could argue that that's a good thing. I would say that that's a bad thing for teams like Appease the Gods, the GAFF Attack, and Patty's Twins, teams that at one point looked like they could gap out. No, this conference can go to any of these teams right now, and it's going to be a photo finish there. Maybe it's bad. It depends on how you want to look at it. And my ugly, man, is I'm going to piggyback off of what you were talking about a little bit, and that's coach and defense calls, man. It was a lot of crucial calls in the matchups. It's happened throughout the season, but I noticed it really a lot in this week where the coach calls are really costing people their matchups. I'm looking at the United Players. I'm looking at Patty's Twins, and even to a certain extent, Only for the Boss. Your coach call sometimes can be the difference between winning and losing the matchup. It's probably the most well thought out decision each owner has to make. And it kind of reflects on how your season goes. If you're doing really well, you're probably winning a lot of your coach calls. If not, it's going the other way. But I just felt like some teams got complacent, and it cost a few teams matchups that they may need when those final standings come around. But as I always say, what's past is prologue. It's time to look forward and move forward, get those calls right, and get into our Week 10 matchups. And we start in our inter-conference matchup of the week. A big one here between these two teams looking to stay alive in the second half of the season. We got the Skulls taking on the Argonauts. All right, man, both of these teams are coming off, the Argonauts are coming off of a win to get to 4-5. The Skulls have dropped to 4-5 after getting back to 500. Big one here. These teams actually did make a trade last week with Chase Brown and Ladd McConkey. Man, what do you think of this matchup, Argonauts Skulls?
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be, I think, one of the more lopsided matchups of the week.
Okay.
Even though they did do trading, the Skulls failure to launch last week has me looking at a few guys suspect. Outside of Josh Allen, Michael Pittman's been good. Hunter Henry's been performing, but this guy just really hasn't gotten it from other guys outside of Jamar Chase, who's on the bye this week.
Right.
And so that I think that the Colts coach against Atlanta is probably one of the safer calls. He doesn't have a defense in the lineup, so he's going to have to go find somebody. When I look at the Argos, I mean, been dealing with injuries all season and have made the trades to fill the holes. The bye week, although is going to impact them, it's not going to be as detrimental. I think Lamar has a good week against Minnesota. I think that he's got talent up and down. Lad McConkey, again, in the lineup. Chargers coach against Pitt might be a little bit more challenging. Pitt has shown, which version of that team are you going to get? You're going to get the ones that played the Bengals, or you're going to get the ones that just shut down the Colts.
Right.
So, but I do think that top to bottom, Argo just has a tighter lineup. I've got them, and again, a lock of the week performance. I'm going to say that they're going to go 138 to the Skulls 109.
All right, man. I'm inclined to agree with you, although I do like some of the things the Skulls are doing. Josh Allen is trying to get himself a second MVP. He looked phenomenal in that matchup and very composed in that game against the Chiefs last week. I expect that to continue against a Miami team that he loves to show out against, so I like the Skulls there. Now, the problem with the Skulls is probably going to be consistent and reliable RB production. Although R.J. Harvey's starting to get going in that offense, and he is a guy who's a big play capability, he has not gotten that consistent role yet because they got to give J.K. Dobbins some love. But the Skulls have some reason for optimism. Zay Flowers could potentially check Lamar Jackson. Michael Pittman could be a big part of that Colts coach that you like so much. And Romeo Doubs is a good play on Monday night just for the heck of it. But at the end of the day, I think the Argonauts made these trades to build a formidable lineup. It looks pretty formidable right now. And it probably may show that this week. I think that the matchups are good, and the Argonauts keep their chances alive to get to the playoffs. I got the Argonauts getting this matchup 131 to the Skulls 118. And moving on to our next matchup, we go into the Alpha Conference for a big one here. Squad Underestimated would be undefeated in Alpha if it wasn't for this team. We got a rematch from week 1. We got Squad Underestimated taking on KILLA Kev. All right, man, KILLA Kev was the only Alpha team that's been able to get at Squad Underestimated. What do you think of this matchup? KILLA Kev, Squad Underestimated in a big one.
I mean, I think Squad's coming for blood. I mean, losers in week 1 by only 3 points. KILLA Kev, I think, shocked a lot of us. This is a team, though, in Squad Underestimated that, just coming off of a Leave No Doubt performance, probably on pace to do something similar this week.
Okay.
They've just been getting it everywhere. And I think that having the one thing that I kind of question here is the Eagles coach. I think that he could find a much easier coach than a Monday night coach. On the other side, KILLA Kev and company, again, he's relying on that Monday night effort out of Jordan Love and Josh Jacobs. I think that the Broncos coach isn't, even though that's a divisional matchup, I think that they're going to win that game, and it's going to set the tone on Thursday night. I just think that they've got too many mountains to climb here. Squad Underestimated is a much different team, and KILLA Kev's got to do some lineup changes. Etienne has a much better chance in this lineup than I'd make several moves, but I think Etienne has to get in. I've got Squad, though, handling business here, showing real dominance in the Alpha Conference. I've got them going 128 to KILLA Kev's 119.
All right, man, I'm inclined to agree with you, although I see a couple of openings here for KILLA Kev when I look at it. The Squad looks pretty formidable in this matchup, but I do caution the fact that he's got 4 guys on Thursday night. Thursday night matchups can be pretty tricky, and of the 4 guys in that Thursday night matchup, the only one that's a guaranteed bona fide must start is Brock Bowers. Now, I know that Dak's on the bye, so they got to go with Bo Nix. But Thursday night games can be a little bit tricky, and that could produce a failure to launch. And on the other side, KILLA Kev has the Broncos coach, so if the Broncos do have a big game, KILLA Kev could get a piece of that anyway. But at the end of the day, I'm with you. It's too much on Squad's side not to like. Puka Nacua, who, let's just say it, man, every other week he's dealing with a new injury, but he's finding ways to stay out there and produce. We'll see how Saquon Barkley looks, but he's going to have a tough matchup against that against that Packers run defense. And it's going to be interesting to see, but at the end of the day, I think Squad's got too many scoring outlets, and I think that this is going to be a much tighter matchup than one might expect. I got Squad squeaking by, though, in this one, 131 to Killer Kev's 124. And moving on to our next matchup, we go into the Omega Conference for a big one here. Both of these teams coming off of losses. Both of these teams need to get back up on the horse. We got Patty's Twins taking on the United Players, the Destroyers. All right, man, the Twins beat the United Players earlier this season to help them off to a pretty hot start. However, the Twins have kind of fallen back to earth. Big loss to the GAFF, and then United Players, obviously, we talked about him dropping the ball against Killer Kev. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, it's just the UP doing UP stuff at this point. I think this team could be in a much more formidable position. I think Daniel Jones and company get right. I like what Derrick Henry and the Baltimore Ravens are looking like. But as I look down the rest of this lineup, I think that they're going to have tough time. Rashee Rice is out, but we'll see what happens with his ability to fill here.
Yeah.
He's going to get the Buffalo coach in against Miami, which I think is great. Patty Twins on the other side, though, again, they just had a down week, and I think that they're going to come back and score with a vengeance. I think they're going to fill the flex spot. I like the Lions to bounce back, and I've got Patty's Twins in a leave no doubt performance this week. I think that they mop the floor with the UP just like they did in week 2 when they put up 183. I don't think it gets that outrageous, but I've got them going 144 to the UP's 112.
All right, man. I'm with you, man. We're agreeing a lot this week. I'm just seeing that the United Players lack options at the wide receiver position. Not only is Rashee Rice on the bye, but so is George Pickens as well as T. Higgins. So he doesn't really have many options there. He could go at Chris Olave, but he's got a rookie quarterback throwing to him. I guess he could go Keenan Allen as his number 2 alongside Jalen Waddle and throw DeAndre Swift or another RB into the flex. But the options aren't all that tantalizing. Now, on the Patty's Twins side, if they make a different coach call, they probably win that game against the GAFF attack. That was a tough loss that I think is going to reverberate for them later in the season. I think that they're going to feel that probably later on. Now, this week, I think that they look pretty good. I like Addison as a sneaky play against Baltimore. Amon-Ra St. Brown has a huge projection against Washington. That's for good reason. Washington is looking terrible so far this year. And let's be real. Jonathan Taylor is not going to have another week. He doesn't have to play Pittsburgh again. He's going to run all over Atlanta. And I think that Justin Herbert might be the one who struggles a little bit with that Pittsburgh pass rush. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to be a little bit too much. And I got Patty Twins getting by in this one, 122 to the United Players 99. And moving on to our next matchup, we go back into the Alpha Conference for a game of survival for one of these teams, and another team trying to get back on track, trying to stay in the pace for that Alpha Conference title. We got Only for the Boss taking on I Need About Trey Fitty. All right, man, there has not been a more unlucky team in the Pantheon Prestige League than I Need About Trey Fitty. The injury bug has hit again after Omarion Hampton went down and Wilson. Jaden Daniels is mercifully out for the season. He had been in and out of the lineup all year. Obviously, the Boss won't have his Chiefs, man. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, it's unfortunate that we're not going to see these guys face each other at full tilt. However, Only for the Boss, something that I've been saying about this team all year is that he's been able to rely on his non-Chiefs a lot more, and I think that ultimately carries him. Having Matthew Stafford come in, not a bad option. Right. Again, I think that he can do just fine without the Chiefs coach. I think he should go get one. But I think that he's going to be okay. And I'll tell you why. Like you said, I Need About Trey Fitty. Losing Jaden Daniels is huge. Rolling with J.J. McCarthy, I just don't see J.J. McCarthy out-dueling Lamar Jackson in the Baltimore Ravens. Right. He's betting on that too. He's got the D and the coach. Right. So I don't necessarily understand the play. Odunze wasn't involved in a very high-scoring matchup. Makes you kind of wonder what's going on over there. Marvin Harrison Jr. is probably one of the bright spots. And again, I don't like these Atlanta guys against Indy. I think that's going to be, maybe these are the guys to have, because if it gets ugly or lopsided, they're going to throw the ball. But I don't really like Atlanta this week. For that reason, I think that only for the boss gets this one, and I think that they get it relatively comfortable. Okay. I'm going to say that they go 120 to Trey Fitty's 104.
Man, I mean, I guess it's a boring week, man. I'm with you again. I'm looking at Matthew Stafford. I love the matchup in San Francisco. He played very, very well against the Niners earlier this season. He tends to play well, and their matchups tend to get high scoring. Don't expect that to change, especially with that lack of pass rush that the Niners did not address at the trade deadline. Expect Stafford to have all day to throw the football. James Cook's another guy I'm liking, my man. He looked awesome against that Chiefs run defense, which is, I think, in the top 5 in the league. He made them look like Swiss cheese, and that's a very, very proud run defense. So I expect him to do even bigger things against Miami. And this week he will get it into the end zone. So look only for the boss to get some points there. Devontae Adams, I mean, forget Kyron Williams, forget Blake Corum. They don't run on the goal line. They throw it to Devontae Adams on the goal line, and it works, man. This is going to continue to be something that's going to supply only for the boss. And with them having that double dip this week, this is an even better version of it than they have with Kelsey and Mahomes right now. So I think that this double dip is really going to help them out. And on the other side, I love Drake London as a play. Kyle Pitts is probably the only other guy that's going to get targeted in that offense, so I understand why. But the running backs are just underwhelming right now, and as well as the quarterback play. Yeah, J.J. McCarthy showed up a little bit, but it was eerily reminiscent of how that Chicago game was, up and down, one good half, one bad half. And it's just not something I would want to rely on for 4 quarters. At the end of the day, I think it's going to be closer than you might have it, Ulysses. I think Trey Fitty probably could pull this upset off, but I think only for the boss finds a way to hold on. They get Devontae Smith in on Monday night, and he saves the day with a solid performance. I got only for the boss getting this one, 114 to Trey Fitty's 110. And moving on to our prestige matchup of the week. We got a big one here in the Omega Conference. Every week it gets bigger and bigger in Omega. It's taking center stage here. We got a big one here. The defending champs trying to hang on. We got the GAFF attack taking on APPEASE the Gods, sitting in first place in Omega. All right, man. The ATG after that trade looked like the toast of the town, nearly leaving no doubt, putting up 143, a season high. They come into this matchup looking very, very strong against the GAFF attack team that only put up 102 and was lucky to scrape by the Twins, man. What do you think of this one, prestige matchup, GAFF, ATG?
Yeah, I mean, I think ATG got the shot in the arm right when they needed it. Facing a GAFF team that, again, is highly talented, but is banged up. You know, Bucky Irving, A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown's taking a backseat to Devonta as of late. He had a big week with Montague last week. I think against the Giants, he should also have a good day. Right. Broncos D, love it. Rams coach, not so sure against San Francisco. I think that one's going to be a trickier call. Yeah. Again, ATG, you said it. We talked about it. The trade has been effective. He's got a lot of those guys in the lineup, and I think it pays dividends. He's going with the Seattle Seahawks double stack. I believe they've gone 1-7 of the last 8 against Arizona, so that's looking like a pretty strong play. Right. I've got ATG holding on to number 1 spot in Omega in a very close matchup. Okay. I've got him winning this one 125 to the GAFF's 122.
All right, man. I guess this is the one we will part ways on. I'm going to go the other way here. I love that the GAFF is getting Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown back in their lineup this matchup for a showdown on Monday Night Football. It's going to be exciting to watch. Jahmyr Gibbs got shut down before the bye. I expect him to come out with a huge game against Washington. The matchup lines up perfectly for Jahmyr to bounce back. And let's talk about it. If Bucky Irving's available and the GAFF gets him back, they're damn near at full strength. I think Tyler Warren, despite the fact that he hasn't had any huge games, gives him a very, very consistent floor at tight end. And Monahay is as good as an option you can ask for in the flex. Now, on ATG's side, Caleb Williams kind of gave a glimpse into Pate's algorithm last week, showing why they made the move they made. He put up a 40-point game, and at this point in the season is a top 10 quarterback in the PPL. So he's showing why ATG might have their eyes on the future. Rico Dowdle is another guy who was a big beneficiary of that trade. 28-point game, really bouncing back, taking over that backfield. So he's another reason for optimism. And you got to love David Montgomery on the other side. He could tilt the scales for Appease the Gods. I just think that Jahmyr Gibbs is due for a bounce back. At the end of the day, the Ted McMillans and the DJ Moores and the Suttons are a little bit more of a coin flip right now. Although they are the top receivers in their offenses, their passing games can be up and down. It's going to be interesting to see where the ball goes in this one. I do love that Seattle Seahawks defense and coach Stack, but at the end of the day, I think that the GAFF finds a way to get by. Don't like that Rams coach. I'm with you on that one, but I like everything else. I think that the GAFF finds a way to get by in this one and sets themselves up to defend the Pantheon Cup title by making a big late season surge in Omega. I got the GAFF getting this one 129 to Appease the Gods 118. Alrighty, PPLers, thanks for another great week of PPL Live. Hope you guys enjoyed. We are in the home stretch of the season. Each week the matchups get bigger and bigger, and the teams are getting hungrier and hungrier to find out who will hoist the Pantheon Cup. Good luck, have a good weekend, and may the odds be ever in your favor.